Let's talk about. Hey, hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Yeah, it's doing okay, man. How about you?
I'm alright. I'm just chilling and counting down the days till the circuit breaker is over.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been like forever. I think I lost track when it even started.
Just for general knowledge, what do you exactly do for a living?
I'm actually an IT engineer, so I currently work at the airport, just do maintenance for like some of the airport systems.
But it's crazy, man. Like as it is, the airport is pretty barren right now. So now when you
Yeah,
hit to
it's
work,
a ghost town, literally, which is actually kind of awesome. I quite like it.
but how does it look like right now? Because as you know, like not everyone's gonna be at the airport. So just tell everyone like how does the
Uh,
typical Singapore airport or Changi airport looks like on a daily basis, and how does it look like now with the circuit breaker taking place?
it kind of depends on which terminal you're talking about, because Terminal 2 is completely closed, so you only have people who are working there. So like you only see like a handful of people walking around. But for I guess Terminal 3 and 1, it's pretty much the same. You only see maybe 20 people walking around.
Okay. Well, I mean, but it must be like kind of weird for you as well because you're considered like one of those people who need to be at work because you fall under the
Yeah,
category of what do you call that? Essential workers.
essential workers. Yeah,
It's so weird like how they try to define essential workers as
yeah, exactly.
like on one hand they of course healthcare and people who need to dispense daily necessities, yes, they do count as essential workers, and then you got those
Yeah,
who
that's for
fall
sure.
under like the gray area and they are considered as essential workers, and I think that's where you
Yeah,
fall in.
yeah, pretty much. It's kind of weird.
But did they change the working arrangements for you?
Cause I work shifts, so pretty much the only change is in terms of the handover with the other engineers. But aside from that, work-wise, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I guess life goes on, man. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah, definitely.
when they lift this lockdown or whatever curfew you call it, everyone is just going to be back at work. I mean, things might change for the next few months, yes, but eventually it's going to be more or less the same. But
Yeah, definitely.
speaking of which, I have to congratulate you in person for your recent marriage.
Oh, thank you so much.
You just made like just in time before like the lockdown.
Exactly. It was like the night before that was a headache. I was like, all of us were panicking because they just implemented the rule that any event with more than 250 people had to cancel and stuff. So it caused unnecessary panic for all of us.
Man, that means you had to like cancel your wedding band and maybe Matt Heafy's flight to your wedding.
I wish. No, I wish.
But speaking of Matt Heafy, man, I understand that you were planning to watch Trivium live,
Oh, that's
but
a given.
yes, but where were you planning to watch them? Because they were supposed to be in Singapore and Indonesia.
Yep. I was definitely gonna watch them here because for one thing, I didn't want to. I know it's tickets for Hammer Sonic are quite cheap, but then I mean flight tickets and hotels and stuff is still gonna add up in the end. So I just figured I'm just gonna watch them here, and I think it should be quite a momentous thing also because this is the first time that they're gonna play here. So I thought it would be much better to watch them here as well.
But I was thinking about it because Trivium is, I mean, by all accounts, they are a big band, but yet
Yeah, for
they
sure.
have not been to Singapore. Why do you
Yeah.
think that's what's their probable reasoning behind not traveling to Asia until like much later?
Mm, I don't know. I guess none of the Singaporean organizers just wanted to bring them in. I guess because I know for a fact that they had layover flights back in their old Asian tour in like 2010, I think. Yeah. So it's quite crazy.
I mean, it would have been totally different if say they were they were booked to perform in Singapore like in 2010 or 2011 when the band was still not as prominent. I mean, they are prominent since like the mid 2000s. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
but I find it really astounding that they took so long to actually pull the trigger in bringing Trivium down. And I think 666 ADM said that they were in Manila in 2011
Yeah.
or 2012. So
Yeah.
again, like if other promoters were able to bring Trivium to to other countries in Asia, then why do it take so long to reach Singapore?
Yeah. And the weirder thing is that even though they were supposed to come here, they was going to be an opening band, which I thought was absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I guess it's a little tough to decide as to who should go on first or who should go on last. I mean,
Yeah,
I think we were talking. If you're talking about the show in Singapore, it was gonna be Trivium, Slipknot, Lacuna Coil.
Lacuna Coil was a different.
Oh, right, it was a different show. Okay,
yeah.
I see.
So it was just supposed to be Trivium and Slipknot.
Okay, someone said Rockwell.
No comments on that.
We're trying to keep things pretty non-controversial and try to keep things as neutral as possible. Sure. So we'll try not to talk about Rockwell because I have zero opinion about that band. But if you were to ask the rest of my friends, you can get a better story out of this.
Yeah.
We're talking about like the wrestling style beef, with the microphones and whatnot. But fortunately for you, you were able to watch Trivium live and even meet the band.
Yeah, that was something I knew I had to do some way or another.
So when was the first time you got to watch them live, and when was the first time you were able to meet the band in person?
Quite a funny story. So that was in 2014. They were playing at Soundwave, and I have a cousin living in Perth. So I think in 2013 was the first time I flew over to Perth and went to Soundwave with him, and it was a crazy experience. So I definitely thought I needed to do it again in 2014, especially because Trivium was playing. So I did. I went over, saw them play, and for sure it was a crazy set. I think I had one of the best moments in my life watching them. And it was the day after. I was just chilling in my cousin's house and scrolling through Twitter. I think I saw some of the bandmates like posting, like not really where they were at, but kind of hints of where they were staying at. So I was like just showing my cousin, hey, do you know where this is? And he was like, I might know where this is. So we took a 1-hour drive. We drove out to the hotel and we just kind of hung out there. And we did see like band crew and stuff. So we were kind of certain at the time that, okay, this might be the correct place. And we were just chilling over there, and suddenly we saw Corey come out first. And we were like, holy shit, it's Corey. So we went over, took photos with him, and we just kept hanging out at the hotel, kept waiting for all the band members to come out. And like for some reason, Matt Heafy was the last person to come out, which, I guess saved the best for last in that sense. And just met him, got to chat for a bit. And it was just, all of them were just super down to earth. They were really nice. It's just a really great moment.
Man, it must have been really daunting for you as well, because you know what they say, like, do not meet your heroes because they may disappoint you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess for you at the point of time when you got to see the band in the flash, and actually talking to them backstage, you probably had like 1,001 questions racing through your mind. You're like, crap, like what if they turn out to be jerks, man? Would this maybe not want to listen to the band anymore and stuff? But I would say that based on like social media interactions, on how they portray themselves, the band in general, they seem to be really nice guys. They seem to be like down to earth. Although was it Paulo? Paulo likes to troll a lot, I would say.
Yeah, he's a professional troll, I would say.
Is that your job as well?
I don't think so. I hope not, at least.
No. I think your job is the dead joke guy on Twitter.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, still on the subject of trivia, this is gonna be mostly like a Trivium-based episode, I would say.
Yeah, hit me, man.
It seems like it because the thing that both of us share in common is the fact that we are part of a fan club or a fan group. So
Yeah,
in my case, it's the Turbo Yugen, which is
Double
the
Jugan,
fan
yeah.
club of the band Turbo Negro. Whereas for you, you have the Shogun Unit. That's what
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
called.
there's no official name for it. I just try to call it Shogun Unit, though it's not really catching on, if I'm being honest.
Well, it's pretty catchy if you think about it. I mean, it has a nice correlation between on the band's albums, and I guess it's also like a ode to Matt Heafers' heritage as well. So it is a very catchy name.
Yeah.
But what led you to come up with the? I'm not saying that you're the one who started the fan club per se, but what led you to be onto like this bandwagon of being part of a band's fan club?
It's kind of a good question. I don't really know when or how or even why it started. I mean, I've always been a Trivium fan since I was like 14, 15. But they only started to like really get into it like in my early 20s, I think. Then I kind of made friends with some of the other fan club members from America and Mexico and stuff. And I think the dedication just really inspired me. And I just thought, why not? Just go all out. It's not like I got anything better to do anyways.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, my friend, Reverend Bacon, Martin, he said that the Turbo Yugen is world's second biggest fan club for a band, second after Kiss Army, but we are more fanatic and drunk. I agree.
It sounds awesome, man.
And also because I think the Kiss Army is basically comprises of like mom and dads now, so they're not cool.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The Turbo Yugen is way cooler, and so is the Shogun Unit. Because the features are ours, oh man. So if Gene Simmons were to like watch this like by some weird coincidence, I'm not gonna give you money for your fucking Kiss coffins, man. Go and rip somebody off or something.
We'll sue someone.
Now we're gonna talk about 14-year-old Zamir when he listened to Trivium the first time. So this is like the age where I would say this is during the point of time where we had a couple of bands to choose from in terms of who we would like to listen to. For example, like I think we had Trivium, we had Avenged Sevenfold, we had a few other bands that would come into prominence. Well, My Chemical Romance as well. But of all the options out there, why do you choose Trivium out of the rest of the pack? I'm not saying that you did not like the rest of the band, but the rest of the band choices.
Yeah, I understand.
There's probably a reason why. Oh yeah, and Killswitch Engage. But I would say Killswitch is probably maybe like a couple of years older than that. So
yeah, I think they were a bit of ahead of the curve at that time.
I mean, that could just say through you as well.
Yeah, definitely. All that generation of metalcore bands were
metalcore. You mean Unholy Grail?
Oh man, let's not go there.
But back to the question though. What led you to choose Trivium of all of this selection that was on offer during that period of time?
Okay. Well, technically, the Trivium wasn't the first like metalcore band I really got into. I was exposed to pretty much Avenged Sevenfold, actually Killswitch, that sort of stuff. And my brother had this compilation CD, Headbangers Ball 2, and he had the demo version for Like to the Flies. And I heard the song. It was a good song, but I don't think I was like fully sold on the band yet. Yeah. Then I think a couple of months later, Slipknot played a show here, and my brother went, and apparently when he came back from the concert, he received like Roadrunner sampler CDs, and I think it was the second track on it was Pull Harder from Trivium. I think when I heard that song, I was just blown away from start to finish. I think just the entire song pretty much just summarizes the band and what they are able to do, and I think that just really got me sold.
Now we're gonna talk about the Roadrunner era of bands, and yes, Pull Harder, because Pull Harder was from the Ascendancy album.
Ascendancy.
So that album, if you were to ask me, because I would say our age is pretty much close to the same. So
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say when Ascendancy first came out, we didn't know about the songs from that album. We found out about the songs through like maybe magazines or compilations, right? And I would say for Traven, the reason why they first came to prominence was through these compilations and singles, singles from their songs, and I think that caught the attention of everyone. Like when I first listened to Trivium and I listened to Pull Harder, it caught my attention right away. And I discovered the band through Kerrang magazine because they had their own compilation. And then when they played that song, I was caught off guard because I thought it would be like one of those, typical metalcore bands trying to just ride on the wave, just trying to latch on the hype. But these guys were, they were like a throwback of like 80s or 90s style kind of rock metal music. And at the same time, they are very original in their material. And you could tell that these guys had something in them that makes you want to check them out. But I think that also led to a new wave of fans for Trivium as well. Or I think that's where their fame first got them there, through the Ascendancy album, and then thereafter they released more albums, so on and so forth. But the thing about bands sometimes is that at some point in time, they will hit a snag where they will release one or two mediocre albums, and then it becomes like a crossroads as to whether they will, reemerge from that slump, or they'll just, fade into obscurity. I think we spoke about this like via Facebook about Children of Bodom, where they had that one bad album, mediocre album, and then it just went downhill from there. So
I think that was
in your that was
for Trivium, it kind of the case like a few albums ago actually.
Which album would that be in your view?
The first one would be Vengeance Falls. I think that's almost universally like most Trivium fans' like least favorite album, because I think they did a lot of things. I think the idea was there, just wasn't executed that well. And the album after that, it was a bit more polished in some ways, but also quite lacking in others. And at that point, I was not really sure where the band was going. It was kind of weird. Definitely wasn't the Trivium that a lot of people are familiar with. But luckily, the album after that, they pretty much just got back on track. And same with the album that just came out a few months ago.
That album
going back.
That album is a banger, I must say, man. Like I listened to a few tracks and I was, whoa! It felt like a comeback of sorts. Even though I'm not a fervent Trivium fan, but by listening to it, it sounded as though they were back with vengeance,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can say it's about the lineup changes and stuff, but I don't know. I think they kind of know what formula to work with now. After the last few albums, they kind of know what didn't work and stuff. So I think they're kind of sticking to that for the time being.
So Zani said, VF, which is Vengeance Falls, major turnoff is the lyrical subject matter, in my opinion. So what would be what's this subject matter that he or she's referring to?
I don't know, because I think for me, my take on the lyrics is kind of the opposite. I actually do quite like it because it's a bit more forward in some sense. It's more personal. I think at that point of time, Matt Heafy was going through a lot of like anger and stuff, and that kind of portrayed with the lyrics. Some can say it's a bit cheesy in some ways, but I don't know. For me, I was fine with it. It was mostly the music and the terrible Dreamer influence on the album that really peeved me.
Okay, so the other thing we were talking about was the Roadrunner Records. So they had that compilation. What was it called? Roadrunner United?
Yes, it wasn't really a compilation. It was
it wasn't a compilation.
Like a project.
It was like a project where they had
they had team leaders to orchestrate like different projects to write songs and stuff.
okay, let's see if we can get this right. So, Roadrunner United was basically like a Roadrunner project where they get like four
Yep.
team captains of sorts,
Yep.
and then they all came up with different songs with their various lineups and stuff, and something along those lines,
Yep.
I believe. So the team captains were, let's say, Matthew was one of them,
Rockflynn,
Rob Flynn,
Maggie, Joey Jordison,
Joey.
and
Dino.
Dino, I think. Yep.
Yeah, Dino from Fear Factory.
Yep.
So what was your favorite track from that album?
Holy shit. I think the entire album is like godsend, I think. I think my favorite track would be the metalcore-ish track that Rob Flynn wrote. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called now.
It's alright, we'll find out soon enough. You know what, maybe later on tonight on Spotify we'll play the Roadrunner United compilations entirety.
For sure.
And it will just
But
be
I think
like,
that song is sick because also has Jeff Waters on it. Just fucking insane.
Jeff was from
Annihilator.
Annihilator, right? Yep. I would say my favorite song, if I can think of, if I can remember this like at the top of my head, it was I Don't Want to Be a Superhero because it had Michael Graves.
Yes.
From Misfits.
That was, I think, one of the underrated songs on it. I was damn shocked to find out Michael was on the album.
Man, I loved it, man, because especially like the guitar riff at the beginning, it was so catchy, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I think Matt Heafy's projects on that album also really showed what he was capable of. I think every song he wrote had a different style to it, like the stoner rock song, the black metal song. I think all of them were like really well done.
I mean, what can I say, man? The guy is like full of talent, and in some ways, man, like whenever I look at Matt Heafy, I think about you. I don't even know why. Because, like, I mean, like for yourself, like you are a man of a few talents as well, and we got to talk about that.
Oh, thank you.
So we got to address about the beginning, you know, when you started Roadkill. So Roadkill, I know, man, it's a blast from the past, man. But I would say like the last few episodes we were talking about. I don't want to regurgitate every single thing, but basically the bands that were around the 2010s, 2015 to 2015 era. Your black hole, basically your black hole kind of bands and
black
whatnot.
Hole, crawl space era, yeah.
Yeah. So Roadkill was one of the bands that I first watched, and that was when I first got to know you. And this was when you had, I think you're growing your hair out, I believe.
Was this back when Black Hole didn't have the stage yet? Was still the floor?
I believe so, yeah. This was before the platform.
Okay. Yeah, I was still growing up my hair at the time.
Or as they call it, the post NS look.
Pre-NS look.
So you know how like you got out of NS, like your hair is just growing out slowly.
Yeah, the durian face. No, but I was still in poly at that time actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just tell me, like, in summary, like how Roadkill came about and how you guys got together and decided to form a band, because everyone has like their various background stories. You know, either they meet through poly, or they meet through like a soft forum or something along those lines, or they know each other from other bands. So for Roadkill, how did it came about?
Was quite interesting in some ways because for Roadkill, in some ways, it was technically a family band. Like, my cousin was the catalyst for it. He just messaged me on MSN one day. I was like, hey, you want to go jamming someday? It's like, yeah, heck yeah. And at the time, I didn't really have any like metal friends in school and stuff. So like, we went jamming. He brought two of his cousins along. So it's not really related to me, but yeah, he's the middle person. And actually, the original lineup for Roadkill had my brother on vocals. So I was technically just doing like backup vocals at the time. And we were just jamming, fooling around, you know, just having fun basically. And in 2007, we sort of had a gig opportunity to play at DXO. Not too sure if you remember it.
I remember this because DXO was one of the venues that SDM did for their golf events.
I see.
Yeah, so I do recall DXO for sure.
Yeah, it was a weird place. But yeah, we had this opportunity to play there. It was one of those. I'm not too sure if you remember, but back then there was a whole phase of organizers just making you sell tickets to play shows.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, it was one of those, and we had to sell a shitload of tickets to play the show, which we didn't do. So screw it.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah,
it wasn't exactly like the best idea, but I guess
yeah,
when you were younger and you just want to
just
perform,
want to
like
play. Yeah,
you actually go like all
just,
out just to do this.
exactly. Yeah, and we played the show, and the organizer put us up to play at 12 noon, if you believe it. So there was literally no one. But still, probably one of the most memorable shows because I guess it's the first show that I played with Roadkill. Yeah.
Actually, come to think of it, it's not exactly that surprising because if you remember, like when we were, God, now we sound like old people. Like when we were younger, there used to be a time where organizers would set up shows at 1 p.m. and then they
Oh,
just
yeah, that's true.
throw like I don't know, man, like 15 bands to perform for the entire
Yeah. It was like
thing.
festival of
It
some
felt like
sorts.
it felt like a festival, but in a tiny little place, and you're just
Exactly. Like bite-sized festival.
and you just woke up and just like, oh man, I'm gonna go for a gig. And then your parents are gonna be asking you like, oh, what time are you heading back home? Oh, I'm gonna head back like close to midnight. Your parents are gonna be like, what? Like
Exactly.
you're leaving at 12,
So
you're like,
weird.
yeah. The show starts at 1.
Yeah. That's a weird era.
It is weird. I mean, no, I'm really glad that this
Yeah,
does
for
not
sure.
happen anymore. Now everyone's so sensible, and maybe there are not enough bands anymore. But also at the same time,
Yeah,
it's
that's
probably because they figured that no one's gonna come to your show at 1 p.m. Man.
exactly.
Everyone's gonna be at McDonald's or I don't know,
Yeah.
buying bubble
No
tea
one's
or
gonna be
something.
there.
And maybe that's why they put the shows as 5 p.m. now. I don't know. That maybe to get a later crowd, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
People have
also at the same time, man, like can you imagine like over a span of 10 to 12 years, like a lot of venues have disappeared. Not just
yeah, it's
not just the one that we talked about, but also places like Pink
big
Noise.
noise. Yeah.
Aliwal is like no longer like a performing space either for
Is
some
it?
reason.
Oh yeah, I'm not aware of that.
It used to be very popular where you would have shows at
Yeah.
Aliwal like every other week, and then suddenly it just
I
didn't
was
become
wondering
a.
about that too.
I'm worrying about that as well. So if anyone from Aliwal Arts Center, if you're watching this, please tell me, give me an answer, man. I want to know. And I only found out like only like 2 weeks ago that Decline has ceased operations as well.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. So I think the only place now is Anarchy, I think.
Even so, man, I don't even know whether Anarchy is still like
Yeah,
organizing shows.
yeah.
I really hope so because
Likewise.
and this is the thing, like I feel that a lot of our venue spaces are disappearing at worrisome rates. You know, they have like a very finite shelf life. It's like maybe under like 3 years, 4
Yeah.
tops, and then they're active, and then next thing you know is like, oh no, we gotta shut down because the authorities, blah 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 blah, and this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And now as a result, I've seen shows in which they organized it in like industrial areas. I think there was one that was at Woodlands, and then there was one at Bedok, and a few weird,
I'm not surprised.
basically industrial buildings.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of a choice either because at
Yeah,
least
that's
through
for
those
sure.
at least through those areas, even if you were to make a lot of noise and everything, it's a very noisy place to begin with, so no one's gonna care.
Exactly. Less likely for complaints and stuff.
And that's the thing I'm so envious of my Western counterparts when I go to their countries and I go for their shows where they can do it at a bar, any other bar, or they can do it at a venue that's close to a residential area and they don't seem to have any problems with it. But in Singapore, like, you know, the
Yeah.
moment, okay, let's not even talk about gigs, okay? Even if you want to host a wedding,
Yeah.
people
So
are
much.
people are creating a record out of it, and
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, in your opinion, do you feel that Singaporeans in general are just a little too, I won't say never-minded, but maybe they should really try to take the stick out of their ass?
I think Singaporeans tend to be entitled in some ways. I think they just expect things to be just convenient for them in almost every aspect. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just really weird.
Because I had this discussion with one of my friends, I think one of those days as well, where we said that no matter how open-minded or progressive we try to be, there's always that group of people who's negative and bigoted mindsets or conservative mindsets that will always set us back. So for every 2 steps that you try to take, it's always 3 steps back for us because we are always being...
Yeah, definitely feels that way.
And I would say this also applies to like having shows in Singapore, because if you think about it, like of all the countries around our region, Singapore is like the best place location to have a show, because you don't have to worry about crime. You have some nice locations and everything, like Fort Canning, for example, and stuff.
Yep.
But you don't see bands coming to Singapore. Like even if they do an Asia tour, it's at most Japan and maybe Thailand, for example, and then they'll just bypass the rest, and then and even Indonesia, and then they go straight to Australia. And now I just need you to like be in the shoes of the band, and I'm gonna ask you this question as to why do you think this is the case where they bypass our region most of the time? Is it because the organizers are not doing their homework in catching these bands, or do you feel that these bands are not aware of the activity that's going on around our parts, where there is a sizable rock and metal community?
That's a good question, because it's quite tricky for me to give my input as well, because I've never really been on tour, so I don't really know how it works in that sense. So I've always wondered whether it's the band's initiative or the organizer's initiative as to whether these shows happen or not. But from my knowledge, I think it's the organizer's part. And yeah, so that's always been my kind of go-to response as to why bands don't play here. It's always, well, organizers just aren't bringing them in. So
it's I would say I concur with you on that one as well. Like on one hand, like there are organizers that try their best to get in those bands, like Street Noise, for example.
Yeah,
like those guys do an amazing job in trying to get the bands. Yep. So if Eric, if you were to listen to this, which I know you're not, good job, buddy. it's like a free plug for all my friends out there, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was the next time I'm gonna do a video, I did do like the adverts, you know, where like I'll do a 5-second break and there's like a commercial from them. That's how you get monetization, man.
Yeah, that's true.
But I would say that the organizers, on one hand, yes, they do play a part in trying to bring these bands in. Of course, for every Street Noise, you have guys like LAMC who only focus on getting in bigger bands. I mean, I'm not blaming them at all. I mean, for them, they have to think about their
profit margins.
Your profit margins and your cost opportunity and everything. So, so these are things that your casual fan may not understand. So, honestly, I do not blame LAMC. They did not want to bring. Okay, like I go on their Facebook page every single time I see please bring Iron Maiden in. Every single month I see the same old thing, and I'm just like,
not surprised.
I know, but if you think about it, like I do not think Iron Maiden want to come to Singapore every month, let alone every year.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot of money to bring this kind of bands in, and we don't have that kind of, honestly, I don't think we have that kind of audience that will bring in that kind of what do you call it? Profits, you know?
Exactly, yeah, that's for sure. That's always been my assumption as to why Trivium never had a show here. Because I know they have fans, but I always question whether they have fans here who are dedicated enough to like bother going to a show. So I'm not surprised to LAMC making them as an opener, but still bumps me out nonetheless.
I see. You know what? I see. This is where the tricky bit comes in. When we talk about being fans of a band, like for example, when you say that you're a fan of Trivium, and you know there are people who are fans of Trivium, but when push actually comes to a shove, or when things actually materialize in which the band that they like comes to Singapore, it remains to be seen as to whether, like, for example, for every 10 people who say they like the band, will all 10 of them will turn up?
Exactly. That's always been a question of mine.
It's same thing with Tunigo as well, man. I've got like people just coming up to me. I think they're probably drunk, but they'll just come up to me and say like, "Oh yeah, I love Tunigo," and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, cool." It's like, yeah, I wish they would come to Singapore. It's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I totally feel you on that.
Yeah, because I don't have the answer to that, man. Like, I even if I were to bring up that subject to the band, to them, I mean, let's be honest, like their fan base is not as big as compared to the other countries like in Europe or in the Americas. And if they want to come to Asia, at most it's probably have to be like part of a festival because they cannot do a standalone show.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this is the case for like niche bands that we like, you know, where we love these bands, like we adore them, or we have so much adulation for them. But in reality, like in order for these bands to perform in our country, they would have to be part of a festival in order for that to happen because
Yeah,
they don't have the kind of star power or the kind of pull to organize a standalone show.
exactly.
Because for organizers, like all they need is not even profits. They just want to break even at the
Cover
very
the cost.
least.
Yeah.
And speaking of bands as well, like I've not heard from Roadkill for quite some time. So would you like to tell us the status of that band and whether you're doing
Uh,
anything else that's music related?
as for Roadkill, I don't know, man. I kind of put it as an indefinite hiatus.
Okay.
Like I've always wanted to bring it back someday, but with how things are now with everyone, I don't think it's possible. But thankfully, I do have other musical projects, mainly with Magistricide, Kasman, Sharizal, and all those guys. But that band, I only do vocals because when Kasman dragged me in, I was like, no, I'm not playing guitar for this. I'm just gonna do vocals because I'm too lazy. Like my guitar playing skills are like way too rusty. I just couldn't be bothered.
It's alright, man. Just let Casper play the guitar, man.
Yeah, he's like a million times better than me at it, anyways.
I hope he's listening to this, man. Then his ego will be inflated right now. Somewhere in his house, he's probably like have like a whiff or something like mentioning about him. It's just like, yes.
Probably, yeah.
So what's the plan with Magistricide? Like, why are you guys gonna release an album, or are you guys gonna do like a show anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, we've been wanting to do a show, but it's just been pushed back and back. So we don't really have any plans for that now, but we do want to do it. As for now, we're just kind of writing new music, just working on new stuff. That's pretty much it.
I mean, I did listen to a few, I'll call examples of what your new band has to offer, and it sounds really promising. I really can't wait to check you guys out. I cannot promise you that when you go on stage, people are gonna make fun of you.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna make a trivium reference midway somewhere, and that would not come as a surprise to me. But yeah, I do hope that you guys do a show sometime soon as well.
Yeah, likewise.
But aside from Magistricide, of course, I know for a fact that you have your own YouTube channel where you talk about pomades.
Yeah.
Now, this is very interesting because, yes, metalheads or rockers or whatever you call it, they have music as their main interest, but these side projects that they have tend to go from boring to interesting in varying degrees. And yours, I would say, definitely caught the attention of most people when you started to talk about pomades.
Yeah.
I mean, how did this even happen, man? Like, this just came out of the blue.
Yeah, that's quite a weird transition, I guess. I don't really know why I got into it, but I just kind of did. And actually, you'll be surprised how many of the pomade brewers are actually metalheads, which is, I think, is quite interesting in itself.
I don't think I'm surprised. I would say, like, things like pomades, like, even now, like, apparently now, every other, like, punk guy or something is into coffee. So, I guess it's like a rise of unconventional side projects and such. And for you, what you do is that I'll get this right. So, you'll be reviewing pomades and you'll talk about, the textures and the effect that you want to go for and what pomade suits best and what to avoid and such.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part of it.
To be frank, I kind of haven't been uploading on YouTube for almost a year actually. So I've kind of taken a backseat on it. Yeah, but I do plan on getting back into it sometime soon.
So while doing this side project of yours, so to speak, were you able to have like a tie-up with like pomade makers or maybe do like a collaboration with guys in that line?
Well, it's not impossible. There's definitely like many of those that happen, but to be honest, I'm not really sure if I would do it myself. Yeah, I definitely have to see the opportunity and as to when, if it will happen.
Because I'm kind of jealous that someone actually did a collaboration with a couple of the Yugen German guys, man.
Yeah.
Man, they have
Pomp's not dead. I think.
Yeah, they had their own pomade and it was made like specially for that. Okay, I'm trying to get this right. So it was just a bunch of German Jugens, and then they had like, a collaboration with that pomade company, and
Yeah,
it was just meant for their own usage. And I need to find those guys, man, so that I can at least. I'm just gonna go to your house and go like.
Yeah, but Pomp's not dead. Super legit. I mean, the guy grew up during the whole punk phase, so he's he truly is legit. Yeah.
But it's really cool as to how we have this kind of crossover influences in the sense that, you know, we have like pomade and punk, we have, for example, like the other day I was speaking so much like gaming and metal music, and we have all of this like hobbies where they collaborate with their main interests, and I think this begets the question, you know, why do you think that most guys who are like into extreme, the vertical extreme music, are the biggest nerds on earth?
Wow, it's kind of a good question. I don't know. I mean, at least for me, it's just always been quite isolated in some sense. Growing up, I never like hung out with friends outside of school and stuff, so just mostly spent time indoors. So I think for me, at least, that's kind of what made me a nerd in some ways. Just self-isolation and stuff. I'm not too sure if that's the same case for even you or these other guys. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to ponder on.
I'll agree with you because I didn't spend my childhood like hanging out with people and stuff. So most of the time it was always like being stuck at home and I don't know, just being left to my own devices. So
yeah.
And I think that's how you develop all this child interest, you know, like things like gaming, things like wrestling,
Yeah.
and even when you become a teenager and you start listening to music and you become some sort of a badass and stuff, deep down you're still a child, you know. You still love,
Yeah,
you still love, you still have a favorite Ninja Turtle. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's for sure.
And that doesn't change anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think it should change also.
No, I don't think it shouldn't be. And I think it's really cool because I think you notice this as well. Like when we go for a show, you know, we go in there, we go to the mosh pit, we rock out with our balls out and stuff, and then when we step outside, everyone's talking about things that are not related to music.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it.
I said it's really charming to like. It's actually kind of endearing to see that because when you have, especially for example, like if you step outside a substation and then you have like tourists walking past us, they're gonna look at us thinking like, man, these guys are gonna like create trouble and stuff. But in actual fact, we're actually looking at a bus app to see if we're gonna miss our last bus, you know, because we have other priorities.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're just humans.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're just like, we're soft teddy bears, man. Like we may look tough and all, but deep down we're just fucking adorable, man.
Agreed.
But the other thing I've got to talk about as well would be, I think in a sense, fashion. I mean, since we were talking about pomades, and now we're going to talk about fashion because you have a shop sense of dress sense.
Thank you.
You go for the Greece-inspired look. You rock out your leather jackets and you've done a couple of photo shoots as well. And
Yeah.
that takes a lot of confidence to pull that off, man, especially in our crazy weather.
I don't know. I guess it's just out of boredom, really. Just, I don't know. I don't really have a good explanation as to why I do all these things.
Well, I would say you don't really have to explain, but I think it's more of the fact that I guess, you know, like I say, you know, we have music as one of our main inspirations, but our life does not center entirely on just music alone. Like we have
Yeah,
other
that's for sure.
we have other things that we're interested in, and I think for you, like there's pomades and there's fashion and then when I did take a quick look at it, I think you guys have like some sort of I won't say a club, but some sort of like a fan thing going on with jeans and stuff or denim.
Yeah. So Denim Hits SG. Yeah, to be honest, I'm quite a newbie in that aspect because those guys are like super hardcore into denim. I think they spend hundreds, even thousands on like denim and boots. I'm just in the corner, just observing, really.
You're just there, just like
But
taking notes and stuff, man. You're like,
yeah, because a few months back the guys just invited me to hang out, and I just obliged, just hang out. They're cool people, but I don't have the wallet to do what they do.
yeah, I saw like the price tags, man. It's bloody
It's
insane.
crazy. It's crazy.
Like, for example, like the Yugen, because we wear like denim jackets,
Yeah.
and those things cost a lot of money. It costs
Is it?
about, say, what was it? I think in the 200s for near 200. Okay, around 200 for like a denim jacket, and that to me is a little too costly. Like if you go for a
Exactly.
Levi's, it's probably like 100 something.
Yeah.
But to these guys, you know, they see denim as some sort of a
The commodity.
commodity. And maybe for those guys in that group that you're in, like, they see denim as some sort of like, I don't know, working man's silk, I would say.
Yeah, they really appreciate into like the craftsmanship and stuff, and that's kind of what I look into as well, even with pomades as well.
So I would say you are someone that really looks into details. Like you are very particular about what goes into like a can of pomade or like the clothes that you wear. Like
Yeah, that's for sure.
you have an eye for detail. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it just always interested me as to like the journey these people took to making these things. It's just always been interesting to me.
And I think it will kind of help for you as well because I suppose that when it comes to like buying clothes, for example, it's really hard for you as well because most clothes here like they does not come to your specifications.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of why I fell into this stuff as well, because a lot of these brands offer custom sizes, and that's definitely something that's better for me. Even with the price tag, I think it's pretty worth it.
Because you're paying for craftsmanship, you're paying for good quality, and you're paying
Exactly.
for something that you're gonna wear for yourself. And even sometimes I'm actually looking into the idea of going for tailor-made clothes as well, because especially office wear, where you
Yeah,
know for a fact that, for example, for myself, like I cannot squeeze into Asian size large. I'm not built
yeah,
like an Asian man, but I don't have a choice because these are what the commercial male outlets produce. They just
yeah,
assume that every Asian male is some sort of skinny dude, which
yeah.
is not true.
I feel you on that one.
But finally, I'm gonna touch on that little other thing that you do as well with Gameboys.
Aha.
Yes, you gotta tell us about this because
Right.
this is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so this was something that I got into maybe about slightly less than a year ago. It was just, I don't know, man. It's just interesting. Like, I guess growing up, I never actually had a Game Boy, so it's kind of like childhood deprived in some sense. So when I found out that you can actually modify these things and just take it to like next level stuff and just basically bring it into this current generation, I just thought it was really interesting.
But how do you learn as to how you take a Game Boy apart? Like, is it through tutorials, or you just have that technical know-how as to how to do it?
Just like with a lot of how people learn things these days, YouTube. Just there's so much information on there these days.
Man, myth
Like
busted,
you
man.
must, yeah,
But I gotta say, like, you got just keep on that, because it's actually a very fascinating project where, okay, like for example, I go on Reddit, and there's this Reddit group called Knowing, where they take things apart and they just disassemble
spread
it.
it out.
Yeah, just spread it out. And I'm always so fascinated just by looking at it, because you'd be surprised as to how much detail goes into just one module item. Like for example,
Yeah,
like if you were to take a mobile phone apart, there's so many components that
yeah,
comprises of that one mobile phone, and it's basically visual porn for me, man. Like when I look at it, I'm just so amazed as to how they go about doing so.
yeah, for sure. I definitely learned a lot of things doing all this Game Boy stuff. Like, especially because I don't have all this like technical know-how. Definitely like a good life skill in some sense.
And it's the same for me as well. Like when I started with the whole video blog thing and stuff, I had zero knowledge on video editing. Like, I think even so, like now, whatever I know, whatever I can do, it's basic knowledge, and it's basically you're just winging it. Like, okay, fine, I'll load the video, but it needs some edits. Okay, where do I cut? And all you need is just like a iMovie if you're on a Mac, just to edit all of these things, and you just figure this out. And I think it's really cool that we get to learn all of this on our own, as not just as a hobby, but as secondary knowledge on top of what we normally do on a daily basis, because it's always good to learn something new, and especially when you're stuck at home right now. Like, you have all the time in the world right now, man. You have no distractions, you have no gigs at 1 p.m. You have you have no other excuse other than just being at home, and you can just make the most out of it. I'm not saying that everyone must pick up a hobby all of a sudden and become like an expert engineer.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's one of those
definitely
things.
a good time to do so.
I agree. It is definitely the best time to do so. I think even though it's now close to the end of the circuit breaker, I feel like this kind of days can still go on if you really want to.
Yeah, that's for sure. Plus, I don't think circuit breaker will completely lift once on 1st June, I think. It's definitely going to be quite gradual, and people are still going to be stuck indoors for the most part.
Yeah, it's going to be in phases. So, I mean, that's the sad reality of it. But, but I would say, like for example, when I started this whole idea of doing this video series, it took me a lot of internal convincing that I should get it done, because even I was trying to figure out, how do I talk to my friends, man? Do I talk about serious interesting topics, or do I just, I don't know, if it's like, for example, like if I talk to like some of the guys that I don't talk to at shows, like, do I talk about wrestling for like 1 hour?
Yeah, I think I get what you mean, but I kind of have this issue with when I'm doing my videos as well. But sometimes you just got to do it, man.
I think it just kicks in, like maybe that 1-2 minutes where you struggle for thought, and you try to figure out like, what do we talk about? But then after a while, when you got the hang of it, you're like, yeah, I can do this. I can just talk about this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the whole objective of me like doing this video chats and such, is to get opinions from my friends, and it solves this one burning desire that I always had, since I started doing like media stuff for our community. Like, I really want to know what goes behind the minds of my friends, like what they like behind like off stage, and what really gets them going. And I think that's one of the reasons why I interview you as well, because I keep track of like some of the things that you do, and to me that's pretty fascinating, and I just want to keep it up, man. Like, it's pretty cool to see you doing like pomade reviews, or taking Gameboys apart, or petitioning to Matt Heath to just come to Singapore again.
Yeah, hopefully, man.
And maybe you gotta hear this a lot, but people just keep telling you that you're like the Matt Heath of Singapore, and you just go,
Nah, I wish I had like a fraction of his talent.
I think we all do, man. But at least you have Paulo's trolling ability, or at least sense of humor, I would say. So that's not too bad.
That's a huge compliment.
No, no worries, man. But finally, what would be your plans for the future in 2020? I mean, there's not much left in this year, but do you have like any other projects lined up?
As for projects, I don't really think I have much plan for. Just, I guess, survive this whole shit.
Okay, I mean, there's still your music project for sure. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
we'll wait for that appearance on stage. That'll be really fun. I
Yeah.
swear, man, I miss the days where I'll go to a show and depending on who's on stage, I'll just make fun of you guys, man. I really miss that.
Yeah, I definitely miss going to shows, man. I haven't been to one in way too long.
Man, neither do I, man. But anyways, dude, thank you so much for joining me in the chat today. It's been pretty
Yeah,
fun.
Thanks for having me.
No
Yeah,
worries,
that's for
man.
sure.
And I really hope that the much awaited Trivium show does happen in Singapore because they should be.
Yeah.
And LMC,
Yeah,
if
fingers
you were to
crossed on
listen to this, if LMC is listening to this, please get him backstage. Or even make him like the fucking tour guide for the entire show, man. The boy needs to dream, man. Come on.
I wish.
Alright, dude. Hey, thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks for having me, man.
Bye.
Bye.